lined up for Michigan and Indiana the week after that. Then I got Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State after that. So I got 3 games lined up in a row.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. Did you get
That's
the PDF? You got the PDF I sent you, right?
Yeah, that's why I was at the gym, and some odd reason my phone wouldn't work, and I couldn't get on the internet. And
the PDF is better. That way you can just open it up anytime.
We live.
We are live. TD Report. I'm your host, David Combs. We've got TK, Tony Kennedy,
what's up,
Jody Coleman out in the Midwest. Hey, man. We're 4 weeks into this season, and we've seen some wild stuff already. We've seen some wild finishes. Week 3 had some craziness, and we saw some more craziness this week. One thing I want to talk about, let's talk about this real quick. Arizona Cardinals. What's going on with these guys? They had the big comeback. And then now they have the showdown this week with the Rams. They kind of fell flat.
I think that first and foremost, I think we got to give a lot of respect to the Rams. We took all this stock in week 1 and way the Bills dismantled them. But the Rams are a good football team. They're the returning champs, and Buffalo is a good football team for the most part. So I think we overanalyzed that loss in week 1 and thought that the Rams were not a good football team because Matthew Stafford is not having a good season thus far, already having 5 interceptions in 3 games. I think Arizona is still a decent football team. I never thought they were a great football team, but they're not scoring in the red zone. If you look at their percentage in the red zone, I think they're second to last in scoring touchdowns inside the red zone. You can't win a lot of games. They had 4 field goals yesterday.
That'll kill you in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. So that goes to coaching. I think that air raid offense, a lot of teams have caught up with that air raid offense, that 4 wide receiver sets. I think the defensive coordinators have caught up to that. And I think now you got to be versatile. You got to be able to change that on the fly. And I think that's what's going on in Arizona right now. And plus, they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. Let's go ahead and put that in perspective.
Yeah. Hollywood Brown had a great game yesterday. They just couldn't punch it. They just couldn't punch it in the end zone. So
you brought up 140 yards.
Yeah, he looked great. You brought up the Buffalo Bills. Wow. A lot of frustration up in the booth for offense coordinator Ken Dorsey. He could be seen after the game, slamming his headset down. End of the first half, couldn't get a snap off that they needed. End of the game, couldn't get a snap off that they needed. They've got what they think is an MVP caliber quarterback. And they didn't do what they were supposed to do last week. Meanwhile, Miami's flying high. With that Tua guy that everyone says is a bum, right?
Who?
Everybody else. It wasn't me.
I didn't. We go back to last show.
My cousin is from Hawaii. I love Hawaiians. Okay, I'm good. Me and Tua, we simpatico, buddy.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't you? It's been a lot of people have been saying it. Now, a lot of Miami fans were Fitzpatrick fans. Remember the big thing with him and Fitzpatrick. And that's what ended up that rift or that competition ended up getting, Brian Flores essentially got him fired because he backed the wrong horse. Okay. Tua, it's his job now. It's his team. And he's playing at an MVP caliber. He's playing MVP caliber football. He really is. And I know Devin is a big Alabama fan. The Alabama quarterbacks, well, at least Jalen Hurts and Tua, they're balling.
But see, me and Tony talked about this too in the production meeting where I was saying how many excuses they were making for Josh Allen. The ball was sweaty. He made a horrendous throw that could have won the game yesterday, and he threw it in the dirt. Like, when are we going to start saying, like, okay, these guys, why is it certain quarterbacks can make mistakes, but if that's Lamar Jackson, if that's Tua, if that's Jimmy Garoppolo, if that's Jalen Hurts, it's like if that's Justin
Herbert. Yep. Jody froze for a second. Tony, I love where he's going with this. We talk about a lot of quarterbacks in this league. We talk about a lot of quarterbacks on this show and who gets the love and who doesn't. Right now, Lamar Jackson has done everything but play defense for these guys, and he's been sensational. The Ravens should not have a loss, but it ain't because of him. Their defense is struggling.
Let me start this off with what everybody will say. Yesterday's prices ain't tomorrow's prices. And
Amen.
With Lamar Jackson, you guys need to go ahead and get him signed right away. He is number one in quarterback efficiency. He's number one in touchdown passes. He's tied for 2 in rushing touchdowns. Now, he is on pace to lead the league in touchdown passes and in rushing touchdowns from the quarterback position while completing 65% of his passes. And he doesn't have a legit number one. Can y'all imagine if I'm on there arguing with these folks to look at Lamar Jackson and what he's doing right now with what he has. He doesn't, Duvernay, you've never heard of these fools. Well, Jody's heard of the other guy in the Midwest because he's from Minnesota.
Yeah, but Rashad Bateman has been a household name. Plus, they got him in the first round. So when you get a first-round receiver, he's notable, and that's what they brought him in to be, was the number one. But they do have Mark Andrews, who is a top 5, top 3 tight end in this game.
3?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I'll give you that.
But the way that the Baltimore Ravens offensive line is struggling without Ronnie, if they don't get Ronnie Stanley back, Lamar Jackson's going to be running for his life, because let's give it up for Wise Jr. for New England. He had an absolute monster game. I watched that whole game. He had a monster game. He was single-handedly keeping that New England as a whole, the whole team in the game with 3 sacks. And he also had he had like 7 pressures. Like Wise, until he got hurt, he was killing that left tackle where they had to put Richie over there to help block, and they had to chip with Likely, who they want to be as a receiving tight end, the rookie, Isaiah Likely, but they had to use him to chip a lot. And he was causing a lot of problems yesterday. So if Ronnie Stanley doesn't get back in the NFC North, where you got Myles Garrett, who he had got in a car accident, y'all. He had got in a car accident. He is alive. He is healthy. The passenger, we still trying to see what's going on with the passenger, but they're fine. They're not in any critical condition or anything like that. So I did want to mention that Myles Garrett just got in a car accident today.
Sorry about that.
But if you're looking at the pass rushers like Ted Hendricks with the Cincinnati Bengals, and you got TJ Watt to be back in about 4 weeks, Ronnie Stanley don't get back. Lamar Jackson better get signed, because he could be hurt, because he's going to take a lot of hits on that blind side.
Let's talk about this. What's wrong with the Ravens defense? That franchise, since they've come to Baltimore, that franchise has been known for their defense. I'm gonna go Denzel Washington on you. They stand by it. They guarantee it. This is a brand. See what I'm saying?
It's always
what happened?
It's always been that way.
I love that about it. I love that about
even when they were Jody's team, the dog pound and the defense and the hardcore, all that's been years and years and years of just hard nose. But you have to think about it. Their team reflects the city. It was the same way in Cleveland as it is in Baltimore. That's a blue collar, hardworking, that's what they reflect the city. Yeah. And I think they're getting a little bit away from that right now. They better find a defense, or it won't make a difference how much they pay them.
Well, Tony,
but I'm going to say
go ahead, Jody.
He is the MVP right now. He's the MVP of the league right now. He's the most dynamic player in this league. So you can try to sugarcoat it. You can try to do whatever. He isn't the best pocket passer. He doesn't have the best release.
I don't care.
He's the best football player. Yeah,
I don't care. If he's on the field, I feel if he's on the field and he's healthy, I think he gives you a good chance to win games. I'll just say that.
Y'all can keep that BS narrative that he got to be in the pocket. He got to be in the. Forget that. But be yourself.
The thing about
Play ball like you're in the backyard, and forget the rest of these clowns who seem to think that that's not football. That is football. That's what I grew up on. That's what Jody grew up on. That's what you grew up on. Play football. I'm sick of it. I'm going to start cursing people out, and I'm going to start taking their football card away because he's not playing the way you want him to play. Guess what? Your mama wasn't the way you wanted her to be. She was down in the club.
Hey,
talking to
leave
whatever.
mama out of this. Hey, man. Hey, mama led the league in rushing a couple of times, man. You better stop talking about my mama.
Hey,
She could tote my mom's could tote the rock. Hold on
hey,
now.
but you know what, Dave? You asked the question, what's wrong with the Raven defense? And it's as clear as day. They have no premier pass rushers on that defense. They have they have zero. It's so bad. They moved Queen to the outside. He's not even playing middle linebacker. They moved him to the outside just to generate some pressure.
Where'd they get that from?
Moving him to the outside?
Where'd they get that idea?
Dallas.
They using him the way that they trying to use him like a Michael Parsons, because I think he's not a Michael Parsons talent, but Patrick Queen
is really good.
He's a good player. No, he's a good player. But he's playing the way that Queen is playing is about what we thought Micah Parsons would be last year when they had to move him outside, and then he just started going crazy.
So Jody, what did they just do? They just took a football player and stop all that crap. Is he a linebacker? Is he this? Is he that? He's a football player, so let's move him to where we think he can help us the most. I try to tell people this in high school. Oh, my kid is playing out of position. Your kid's a football player, so the coach is going to play him where he think it's best for him to win. Not no BS argument on Facebook to see who's the best. Is he a football player? Damn right.
Hey, Tony, what position did Charlie Ward play his first year at Florida State? He was the punter.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. He was the punter.
I didn't know
they only punted 7 times that year, but he was the punter.
And he was before his time.
He was behind Casey Weldon.
And he was behind Brad Johnson and Casey Weldon.
That's an amazing stat. I never knew that.
Yep.
Yeah, he was on the
Bobby
team.
Bowden talked to, when
year.
Bobby Bowden was alive, he used to talk about it all the time. He said we had to figure out how to get him on the field.
And that's what
so they put him in punt formation, and on one play he threw out of punt formation and uncorked a 40-yarder. And people were like, huh? So football player. Charlie Ward, football player. That's what he is.
But when you look at the Baltimore Ravens defense, they're putting too much pressure on Calais Campbell. They actually moved Calais Campbell from the inside outside just to try to generate pressure. He's not the same pass rusher that he was 45 years ago. He's 36 years old, I believe. I think he's about 35, 36 years old. So, he's a little long in the tooth to be your premier pass rusher.
He's not a two-gap guy anymore. I don't think he's even a two-gap guy anymore. He's fine in his gap, but he's not a two-gap. He's not a two-gap talent. Well, he's not a two-gap performer anymore. When he first came in the league, when it's time in Arizona, he was nasty.
Right. Even when he was with Jacksonville, he was a premier pass rusher. If you look at the Ravens secondary, which we thought was going to be their strong suit when Humphreys got back and Peters got back, and they drafted Kyle Hamilton and they got Marcus Williams and they got all these pieces in the secondary, and their secondary cannot guard a shadow right now. So if you got it, you can't blitz. Now you put the defensive coordinator at a disadvantage because now you can't blitz because the only way you're generating pressure if you blitz, but those guys can't guard more than a second. That's why you see so many big plays over the top. Because now they're going to look to try to bring in a pass rusher. But what pass rushers are available that's going to really show an immediate impact on the defense? There's nobody available at this time. That I believe, because if they were any good, they would already be on the roster. So you're looking at a guy to try to come in. You're gonna get an older pass rusher. I'm not even sure it's still available, but they're gonna try to go get an older pass rusher, and it's not gonna be the same. So until Baltimore get a premier elite pass rusher, they're gonna struggle the rest of the season, Tony. They're gonna struggle.
It's a shame because the Ravens thought their Super Bowl window was open a year ago. And you don't want to waste years with Lamar Jackson on a rookie contract. He's on a rookie contract. So you should have the flexibility to make some of these moves.
Hey, Dave, but what this actually works in Lamar Jackson's favor.
Oh, yeah.
It now makes him have to really go into a mode where attack mode, because I don't have this defense to help me. So I got to constantly put up points. I got to score.
He's got to put up points, and he can't make mistakes. He's literally got to cut his turnovers down, which so far this season he has. But he's got to keep it. Yeah, he's got to keep the key that kills them. It's not just the interceptions; it's the fumbles. Because if he fumbles, that means he took a hard hit. You don't want to pile those up, where he's fumbling a lot, putting the ball on the ground. He's been reliable, but as long as he's able to do that, and that's where the efficiency part comes in, and you can't. But the thing is with Baltimore, 35 points isn't enough.
No, it's not
30
enough.
points, 35, 42, 49. He literally, I don't know if what he's doing is sustainable for 17 games and then go into the playoffs.
Dave, to be honest with you, they're going to hit a wall at week 10 because they're going to keep going. They're going to keep going against better offenses. I mean, like New England is not a very good offense. Let's go ahead and put that in perspective. And they let Devontae Parker go off on these guys. He went off yesterday. If you look at the week before, they had two guys go off on him. Jake Waddle and Tyreek Hill both had 11 catches. Hill had 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Waddle had 11 catches, 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then you go back to week 1, they was having problems with Corey Davis in week 1. So the competition is going to continue to get better as the season goes on. You still got to play the Cincinnati Bengals twice, who has a premier guy in Jamar Chase. You got to play the Browns. You got to play the Browns twice. And Amari Cooper's he's back-to-back 100-yard games.
Coop
like
looks
Tony
good.
said.
Coop
That
looks
was
great.
a little upset they lost him because he's putting up great numbers in Cleveland right now.
What did I tell y'all about Coop? I told you that was the biggest move that Cleveland made. Yeah, you talk about the quarterback, but Coop allows them to get those first downs when they really need it. And I said it during the show. And he made the biggest catch of the season.
Yeah.
He caught the pass to put them in field goal range, first down, to kick the field goal to win the first game. Man, this game is very simple. Football players, Amari Cooper, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, all this. Man, I know this is hard for our football, I guess how you should say, the classic football fan, and some of our white folks who don't understand that black folks can actually play the position. When people say, well, Tony, you can't use race, I'm going to use race because y'all asses need to stop this crap. When you understand that this game has changed, like I tell all the people, adapt or die. You're gonna die sitting here on that bullshit narrative. If you watched that game yesterday, Brady and that type of quarterback that's gonna just sit back in that pocket, that shit's almost over.
It is.
You better be able to climb that pocket. You better be able to move because those D-line and those edge guys can get after you. Ask Carson Wentz. Did he need to be mobile a little bit yesterday?
Before we move over to Carson Wentz, let's talk about that Green Bay Tampa Bay game. It's a marquee matchup with the quarterbacks, but not a lot of fireworks. It was in the trenches. It was, obviously, Tampa Bay comes down to the end. They get the score. They get the touchdown. They need the 2-point conversion to tie the game and force overtime. And then they get the 5-yard penalty for delay. They had no more timeouts, by the way. Tom Brady yelled at Todd Bowles, we needed to get a timeout. No timeouts left. So they took the penalty. They took the 5-yarder, tried to make a play, just really couldn't do it. And they lose 14-12. I was watching it at a sports bar, caught the end of it. Honestly, I was unimpressed. And I just watched Tom Brady. I just think that dude don't want to be home, man. I think he likes doing what he's doing, and but he's going to find, like you said, Tony, that he's not able to do the things that he used to be able to do. Okay, that stuff doesn't work anymore. So with that said, let's move into something that I've wanted to ask Jody for a while. Jody, when you think of DC and the football team, and you marry the two of them together, like if I say Baltimore, you say defense.
Right.
If I say Cleveland, you say hard-nosed football. You see where I'm going.
Right.
What do you say? What do you say about our hometown?
When I hear the Washington, formerly the Redskins, I always thought about that big offensive line.
They're the Redskins. I don't care. They're the Redskins.
I think about the Hogs. I think about how they were able to run the ball with no matter Gerald Riggs to Ernest Biner to whoever
Riggins.
Smith,
It didn't matter.
whoever you put in that backfield was going to be John Riggins. I don't care who you put in that backfield; they were going to be successful because of the Hogs. So what I'm hearing in the Midwest, when you think of Washington football, you think about those Hogs. There's no more Hogs. Now I think, to be honest with you guys, I hear dysfunction. When the Washington Commanders team come up, and because you don't get many conversations, I'm gonna be honest with you. Only why we talking about the Commanders because they changed their name. I'm gonna be. That's what the barbershop talk is. That's what the sports ball. Ain't nobody talk. Only why we talking about them, they used to be the football team. They are the command. That's only why we talking about them. I hate to say it, guys. There's nothing to write home about in the Midwest. There's nothing sexy about the Washington Commanders. So when we think of the Washington Commanders right now, we think of dysfunction. We think of the emails with John Gruden.
Tony, we talked about some quarterbacks that are going to be on the horse this year. Justin Fields was one. If Carson Wentz takes a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sack game, he ain't going to last this season. He's not going to last.
Well,
the Washington offensive line, the offense, we won't put it all on the line. There were some plays, we all analyzed it today in the production meeting. I saw at least 3 instances where Wentz should have thrown the football or thrown it away. At least 3.
Okay, so what you asking for is a guy who's in a new system. This is his first time in this system. He was in the same system for 5 years in Philly, 1 year in Indy, and this is the first time that he's changed any systems. Now you asking him to process all this and get the ball off to people he doesn't really even know.
Tony,
now,
how much money does he make? How much money do he make?
He makes a lot of money, but
okay.
28. I think it's like 28 million a year.
Okay.
Like that.
My point is, it goes. Everybody gets blamed here. The offensive coordinator gets blamed for coming up with the crap offense. Now, I will say to Tommy, we all agree the offensive coordinator is the blame. But if you're going to keep, let me use this. All you guys have kids. I can't keep blaming that child and keep blaming that child and say something if the parent don't say nothing to the child. The kid is going to keep doing what he think is right because the parent didn't step up and say, no, don't do that. So now when you keep beating it and saying, no, it's the head coach. It is the head coach. Stop with the offensive coordinator. That's dead. It's the head coach because he's allowing that trash.
Tony, we looked at some of the play sequences. We looked at the play sheet. Early in the game, you had a sequence where they had a running play, handed it off to Antonio Gibson. Gibson went for, I think, 12 yards, and this was on 1st and 10. He went for 12 yards. You get another set of downs. The next 3 plays were incomplete passes. Pass on 1st down, pass on 2nd down, pass on 3rd down. Why didn't we go back to the run? You see what I'm saying? I don't understand. And these plays are scripted. So you had a chance to sit there with your staff and say, this is where we want to go. We want to go with a flat route here. We want to go with a vertical concept here. We want to go with a running play. We want to go with a jet sweep, whatever you're going to do. And you look at the plays and you're trying to balance things out between run and pass. Why do you have 3 passes in a row like that? I just don't understand it. And that's just one series.
Well, Dave, this is the issue. And like I said, I have to watch. I had to watch the game because I got to be able to talk about it. So, but anyway,
sorry, it was ugly.
This is what I'm seeing. It's a trend in the NFL when you got these high-priced quarterbacks. You get these high-priced quarterbacks and forget that you have a running game because, hey, I need Carson Wentz. You make $28 million a year. You need to win this game for me. So no matter what the play call is, go execute it. Go out there and beat the Carson Wentz in 2017. He's no longer that Carson Wentz. He will probably no longer regain that form because he had ample opportunities in offenses that he was familiar with that Tony alluded to. But this is where I'm going to go against Tony slightly, and I normally don't. That's my guy. But we talking football. So in my perspective of Carson Wentz, I don't give a damn what system you in. You're paid $28 million. You came in early enough in March to know those guys. You make $28 million. Guess what you should have did? You should have took Terry McLaurin and every other wide receiver on that staff, and y'all should have went to the Bahamas and y'all should have practiced y'all butt off and get some continuity. So I have no consciousness to think that he's supposed to get a pass because he's in a new system. You're a professional quarterback that's supposed to be considered a veteran in this league. So it's your responsibility to get those receivers up to speed. I know nobody likes harsh realities, but that's the harsh reality. Yes, you in a new system, but it's other guy, Jacoby Brissett's in a new system, and he's the backup, and he's executing at a high level. So you brought Carson Wentz in. You have a Gibson, a guy that ran for 1,000 yards, and you're not even utilizing him. So, yes, I want to put something on the offense quarter, and I'm with Tony. You want to put something on the head coach? Of course. But it's still got to be some blame on Carson Wentz as a quarterback. And I'm going to say it again. Deb is not on here. Wish he was. If he's listening, Deb, you already know. Get on here. I said, regardless of what the score is, regardless if it's fault or not, he's going to be the blame. He's going to be the scapegoat before Rivera is. And when he get replaced because they're 1-4 or 1-5 or 2-6, they're going to go with the young guy somehow, which everybody kind of predicted that that's where they're going to go. Carson Wentz will be on another team next year if he keeps this up, regardless if it's his fault or not.
Washington has started the previous 2 seasons 2-5. If they start this season 2-5, which I don't think they will, but if they start this season 2-5, something's got to change. Because
Dave, let's be honest. After watching that game yesterday, they can't stop the run. Are they going to win these next 2 games?
Talk to me. They have Dallas. They've got Dallas. Dallas. They go to Dallas on Sunday.
They average over 4.5 yards a carry. Dallas average over 4.5 yards a carry.
Then they got Tennessee. And what does Tennessee do?
Derrick Henry.
They run the football.
They just ran for 140 yards last game. Keep going.
Well, I would say this, Tony. Mike McCarthy is not highly thought of as a coach. Okay, he's thought to be not a good coach. Kellen Moore is thought to be not a very good offensive coordinator.
Agreed.
You just watched the Philadelphia Eagles run roughshod, okay, over this team. Mm-hmm. If Dallas doesn't come out and feed Zeke and feed Pollard to where they both get well over 20 carries each, there's something ghastly wrong in Dallas. Because what Dallas needs to do this year is protect their defense. Their defense is their offense. They need to protect their defense and keep the defense's snaps low. Okay? Yep. So the only way you do that is to keep the clock running. Keep the clock running. Okay? Feed those running backs. And then mix in the pass. Dallas comes out and they just seem to want to throw the ball. Because that's
you know what? What I just said, Dallas is getting lucky by having your boy hurt, because by having him hurt, you have to go back to what you need to be doing in the first place, which is running the ball. I saw them against Cincinnati. Now I'm going to watch them against a good defense tonight. Now this is probably going to be the second best defense.
This is a gut check. This is a gut check game for both teams.
If they can run the ball against this defense tonight, and they run the ball and use Cooper Rush how you're supposed to use him, they will be fine. Now, to say that they're better than Philly, no. After watching Philadelphia yesterday and run roughshod over the Redskins, I think Philly's the best team in the division.
I picked them.
But if our top people play, our playmakers play, we can play with Philadelphia any day of this week.
Listen, the NFC East was thought to be, at the very beginning of the summer, people thought it should be a runaway, okay? And now Dallas doesn't look like what we thought they were 5 months ago, okay? Now that Cooper is gone, okay, that changed a lot of the complexion of the team, okay? Mm-hmm. And then Randy Gregory left and then signed with, I think it was Denver, okay, to shore up that defense. And hey, good for him. I ain't mad at nobody for making their money. Go make your money. But you've got to be able to plug them holes. You know what I'm saying? When you lose,
the Armstrong kid,
they got that. Dallas did that. But Dallas is a donut, a little soft in the middle. You can run on Dallas a little bit.
They let Gregory go and Cooper go because who do they have to pay? They got to pay Parsons. They're gonna have to pay Diggs, and they're gonna have to pay CD Lamb.
Pollard.
So who?
Pollard.
Oh, no.
So they've got four younger guys that are on rookie. They got 4 guys on rookie deals that they can see that they're going to have to sign, and I like that. Now I'll say this: we'll go back to Washington real quick. Washington has a few guys they think they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to make some tough decisions, and it's mainly in one position group. It's on the defensive line. Okay, they've already paid John Allen. Okay, he's not making a mega deal, but he's making pretty good money. But now they're going to have to make up their mind what they're going to do with Sweat, what they're going to do with Chase Young. Chase Young should be coming back off of injury in about 2 more games. I think he comes back for game 5. Right. So if Chase Young can come back and give that defense a spark, the problem with the Washington Commanders, their defense is absolutely atrocious. And it's embarrassing.
And that's the issue I have with the Commanders is that you put so much money on that side of the ball, and it seemed like the offense is almost playing better than where you didn't put as much money. You didn't put a lot of money into the offensive line.
It's all on the defensive line. That's where the money is.
And they really not stopping anybody. You look, Philadelphia had over 120 yards rushing as a team. And if you pay that type of money, you have to be able to stop the run. Like I said, I say this every day, and I'm continue to say I'm old school. When you can stop the run and you can run the ball, you have a 70% chance in the NFL to win games. And right now, the Redskins can do neither.
They can't do either.
But the Cowboys can. And we speak about the Cowboys. Let's make no mistake, they are 1-1. And let's make no mistake, they lost 19-3 to probably the best defense in the NFL right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are probably the best defense. They only given up 9 points a game. Right. They have given up 27 points in 3 games. They gave up the most points yesterday, and that was 14. So Tampa Bay is going to always give.
They're going to be in games. They'll be in games like that.
And sooner or later, Tom Brady's going to get Godwin back. He's going to get Evans back. He's going to get Julio Jones back. He's going to get Beasley up to speed. He's going to get Scotty Miller the ball. The tight end is going to start producing at some point. So when you have a defense, and Tony said it today, defense travels. They had every opportunity to go against the last year, the 2-year MVP in Aaron Rodgers, and held them to 14 points. So right now, I think we over exaggerating with Dallas. I think Dallas is a better team than we give them credit to because of the fact that they went against Tampa Bay. They went against Tampa Bay, which was a playoff team, and they went against the Bengals, which was a Super Bowl team last year.
Super Bowl.
So it ain't like they played a cream puff schedule. They probably done had the hardest schedule in the NFL.
For the first 2 games, we went against 2 of the worst quarterbacks that I would ever want to see, Brady and Burrow. You give me somebody in the first 2 games that went against 2 better quarterbacks, I'll wait.
You got a good point.
You're absolutely correct. And then we talk about Philly. I think Philly is phenomenal. But who has Philly beat? Philly beat Detroit, barely beat Detroit. They dismantled Minnesota, but how good is Minnesota on the road? How good is Minnesota? And then they beat the Commander team, who is we don't know what they are. So
the Commanders are dragged. They're dragged.
I'm not going to jump on the Eagle bandwagon just yet because until they beat a formidable opponent, that's where I got to really scratch my head because the Cowboys beat a Bengal team. That was a good team. People, they 1-2. The Bengals are a good team. They just have to get it together. They didn't get rolling until like week 5 or 6 anyway.
Hey, Jody, there's room on the Eagles bandwagon for you, my man. I'm driving. We got your favorite drinks on board. Just come on board, man. It'll be fun.
Listen, my pick set that I still feel like the Rams, they'll get it together. Trust me, the Rams will get it together, and my Browns are getting better every week. We should definitely be 3-0. But
hey, guys, I'm going to jump off. You guys go ahead and finish this up. Okay. Everybody that's on, we're going to be back next week. Don't leave yet. Jody and Tony are going to stay.
Yeah, we're still here.
Talk to me on Thursday about this Dallas game, and then lead us into Thursday. But appreciate everyone. I got to do this. Baseball meeting for the kid, so I got to run. Appreciate y'all.
All right, Dave.
Have a great show.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony.
Yes, sir.
What I want to talk about, if we may, is Your Super Bowl pick in the Los Angeles Chargers, the injury bug has taken a huge significant bite out of the Chargers. Now they're missing Bosa with a groin injury. Rashard Slater is out for the season, the Pro Bowl left tackle. Justin Herbert has cartilage tear or whatever in his ribs, so he's day to day. J.C. Jackson, their high-priced cornerback, he's been hurt. Derwin James he's nicked up. What is it that they're going to do? And I feel like they coach is not up to par. Brandon Staley is not up to par in my perspective to have a Super Bowl caliber team. What are the Chargers going to do? How are they going to be bounced back from getting absolutely destroyed 38-10 to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think the problem with the Chargers is they lean too much on that quarterback, and they don't lean on their running game. So they don't have like I say, a Pollard or a Zeke or any running game. They got, those running back by committees, but they're not really running backs. They third down backs. So this is a bad recipe for them. I mean, I picked them to go just because I thought that they could eke their way out. They will be the Bengals of this year. But right now, dude, you cannot lose that left tackle. You cannot lose the best cover corner. You lose your best safety. I mean, those are catastrophic. I mean, the Chargers are in trouble, dude. We're about to find out what they made of, though. We're about to find out right now.
But see, this is my issue with the Chargers. My issue with the Chargers is they should have went with Jordan Davis when he was on the board. I remember we was at the draft, and I said Jordan Davis would be the best fit because they have to be able to stop the run. And once again, they put so much emphasis on Justin Herbert. And like I said, if you look at a dictionary picture of what a quarterback should look back, that's who's going to show up. But once again, he's 16-19 as a starter. He's 1-2 this year. He's having problems with the Mahomes of the world. And now he's having problems with Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence is starting to figure it out. He's starting to figure it out. So what's going to happen if you get behind Trevor Lawrence when you're already behind Mahomes? Russell Wilson, regardless of what y'all saying about Russell, he's 2-1. Russell Wilson 2-1. I don't know what everybody talking about replace the quarterback. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? 2-1 is 2-1. You know what I'm saying? He's still learning the offense, and he's learning, and he's 2-1. He had an opportunity to be 3-0 if, the coach would have let him cook. So now if you look at these other quarterbacks that you behind the Josh Allens, the Tua Tagovailoas, the Lamar Jacksons, you're behind these guys. So Justin Herbert has to figure out a way to win games, whether he's hurt or not.
Yeah,
he's got to find a way to win games.
I'm with you because we're in a bottom line business. You got to win games, and even though you're on a rookie deal, he's going to be up. One of the ones that's up, he's going to be up there to make that money. You got to find a way to win games. You got a new stadium. You move cities. I mean, the Chargers are one of so far this season. And my other Super Bowl team, which are the Cardinals, I'm not too bad on them because they don't have their best receiver. And I still think they're finding their way with new things. And I think once they get their receiver back, Jody, I think that he's going to make a difference. You can't take a top 5 receiver out and just think everything is going to be okay. You got 3 more games.
Right. Like I said, I definitely agree. And plus, like a Deshaun Watson situation, he's not coming off an injury. He's just coming off a suspension. So he should be in pretty good shape. He's not rehabbing anything. But the problem that I have with those guys has been the coaching staff. Is Kingsbury, one of those guys. He's one of those new innovative head coaches, and it's cute on paper and it's cute when it's successful. But these defensive coordinators are smart, and these defensive coordinators get paid too. And I think the NFL have caught up with these offenses. If you look at throughout the league, this is one of the lowest scoring first 3 weeks of a season in almost 15 to 20 years. And the reason being is because all these high-flying quarterbacks that we thought were going to be electrifying, those guys are not among the top quarterbacks. The top quarterbacks is your Lamar Jackson with 10 touchdown passes, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen. Those guys are among the top quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. These are your top quarterbacks. So the guys that we used to seeing at the top of the food chain, your Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady's, those guys are not there.
He asked what injuries did he have today from the Cards.
They haven't said anything. They haven't said if he's going to miss any games yet. We still waiting on. I was looking at the Cleveland Brown page. They were just trying to make sure that he was alive. So once I hear about it, I'm on the Cleveland on their like alert. So I will probably once I get it, I'll definitely put it out there.
Send it over to the TD Reporter on Facebook too.
I will send it up as soon as I get it.
Yeah, that's it. And as we speak, that right there, that injury right there from the car accident could change the fortunes of everyone in that division. We were just talking about the Ravens not having can't protect the edge and can't get to the quarterback. Well, if Myles Garrett is not there, that changes a whole different thing for them.
And see, the problem with not having Myles Garrett in the lineup is because we look as a Cleveland Brown fan, we look for Myles Garrett on defense to make all the plays. It's almost like if Myles Garrett don't make the play on defense, it's not being made. So that can be a very, very significant loss to Cleveland because we struggled when he went out, when he was suspended a few years ago. I think in the 7-game span, we recorded 4 sacks.
Really?
Yeah, we recorded like 4 sacks.
Wow.
But now the only silver lining is we got a young guy named Alex Wright. We have Jadeveon Clowney should be back for the next game. We do play the Atlanta Falcons, so I'm hoping and praying that Myles Garrett is healthy enough to play because they haven't said any significant injuries as of yet. They didn't say no drugs or alcohol was involved. It was a 1-car crash, so I don't know if it was high speed. They real tight lip on that right now. But Myles Garrett, he is alive, and the passenger is alive. So I'm hoping and praying. He's like the man of steel. So I'm hoping that he's ready to play on Sunday. First, I wanted to make sure he was healthy, and then secondly, I wanted him to be able to play on Sunday and make the trip to Atlanta. But edge rushers are at the premium in this NFL. You have to have a premier edge rusher in these leagues. So Tony, we got a lot of teams that have defenses that are allowing under 18 points per game. So one of the top defense in the league is Tampa Bay Buccaneers, only giving them 9 points a game. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars only giving up 13 to 14 points per game. They just had a shutout and only gave up 10 points to the Chargers. They had a shutout against the Colts. You got another team that people don't realize is only giving up about 14 points a game is the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have not given up over 17 points yet this season. So it's some defense, and you said defense. You said this early in the production. I mean, defenses carry. What do you see coming up? Like, are these offenses going to be able to figure out some of these defenses?
Well, what I see right now is that the D'Amico Ryans of the world with San Francisco. Listen, man, they've caught up with this gimmicky crap. And when all things are equal, can your quarterback either extend the play or can he get out that pocket and go get that first down? That's when everything is equal. Great call, great defense, great route, all that stuff. Who can make plays? And again, we're going to take it back to this thing. Are you a football player? Not in the box crap. Oh, well, you got to do this when you see that and do this when you see that. Man, take that crap somewhere. Go get a first down by any means necessary.
But if you notice, I know you're saying the quarterbacks need to make a play, but if you see the top rushing teams in the league are the teams that are putting up points. Cleveland is averaging almost 26 points a game, and they run the ball. They one of the top running offenses. The Baltimore Ravens, they're averaging about 26, 27, 28 points a game. They're one of the top rushing offenses. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're one of the top running offenses. They averaged almost 30 points a game. If you look around the league and you look at the top running offenses, and you see the most points being scored.
Do the math. I think Baltimore's averaging like 35 a game. What do they average?
They scored the first game. They scored 24. They scored 24 the first game. They were 24-9 against the Jets. The second game, they scored 35. And this past game, they scored 37. So they're about 32 points, 32
35, 30. Yeah, that's about right. Wow. That's a lot of points.
But look at what they're doing. They're one of the top, as a team, they're one of the top rushing offenses in the NFL. Yeah, I get it that you need a dynamic quarterback, and I think we're putting too much emphasis on dynamic quarterbacks. The classic thing, we're overthinking this. Like you said, we got football players. Let's think football players. Cleveland Browns, who don't have a quarterback that's thrown for 300 yards yet, but yeah, we average over 25 points per game.
Because y'all run the ball valiantly. There's two teams who will run the ball until Jesus comes. San Francisco and Cleveland. Y'all run that ball like everybody wants to run the ball like those two teams run the ball. And if you can do it that way, listen, tonight's a big night. This is a gut check for Dallas. Because if they go up in there and put pause up on New York, undefeated New York, in New York, they're gonna say, look, like my thing say, Dallas ain't dead yet. We're about to find out because you remember 2 weeks ago, this week, this day, your boy was hurt. He didn't have no surgery. We had to play the Super Bowl runner-up. Man, Burrow's gonna come in there and get 40. Dallas was a 10-point underdog at home. Everybody had him dead.
But everybody that had Dallas dead really don't know football. And like I said, I'm far from a Cowboy fan, but I'm also somebody that covers the NFL. And when I cover the NFL, I have to be realistic. And realistically, like I just said earlier on, they played against pretty much the best defense in football week 1. And then you play against the Cincinnati Bengals, who's one of the better teams. Don't look at their record. Look at them as a whole. And they were able to pull out that win at home. Now, I think in week 1, if Kellen Moore would have had more emphasis on the running game, I think they would have had more success because you got to think they only lost by a 2-possession game where Ezekiel Elliott had 10 carries for 52 yards. To my math, and my math is correct, that's 5.2 yards per carry. So when you're getting 5.2 yards a carry, that's every 2 times you got a first down. So Ezekiel Elliott not touching the ball 20, 25 times in a game like that is really mind-boggling to me. So once again, if Kellen Moore can get out his own way and Mike McCarthy can get out his own way, the Cowboys are really not a bad team. Available, we need to look at your 4 games. Yeah, he said that's a good point. So basically, in a nutshell, they took away that 4th playoff game. Preseason game. That gives the starters. You pretty much preseason. You see pretty much everybody starters sitting. They might address one or two quarters, maybe the whole preseason. They're going to have to think about going back to that. But once again, NFL being a cash cow, they want to make more money, and they taking away the productivity of these young guys getting reps. It's very important to get live bullet reps. As you well know, Tony, you need them live bullet reps.
What I think, Jody, is we're finding now after the day, I think starting next week, I think everybody's back in anything. Because I was looking from week 1 to 2 to 3 and seeing the progression of just, those starters playing and getting together. You remember they used to have a certain game where it was a dress rehearsal.
Right.
Now somebody told you, we don't know if the dress rehearsal was game 2 or game 3, because if it's game 2, it's too early.
Right.
If game 3, the other team ain't doing a dress rehearsal, so you're not getting good work. They had a handshake agreement. Game 3 out of the 4 was dress rehearsal.
Right.
You do your starters, I do my start. But nowadays, just look. They're afraid to do anything to get hit because they done cut the Pro Bowl.
Well, the thing about it is they took that away to do inter squad scrimmages, which would happen to the melee with the Rams and Bengals. You got, I don't think that's a good idea because first of all, those are 2 guys that lost it. Played in the Super Bowl and the Bengals lost, so I'm pretty sure tempers are going to be high. So I don't know if that's the greatest idea to put 2 inter squad games together.
Yeah, you got my ring, and I'm gonna put some paws up on you from 7 months ago.
Right. The animosity actually is lower than 7 months. Remember that Super Bowl is in February. They're playing these games. Yeah. They're playing these inter squad games in July. So we're looking at 5 months. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at 5 months. So my thing is, I don't know what they're going to have to do. The NFL is very smart, but they're a cash cow. They're looking for more revenues to make money.
So, Jody, I want to talk about a person who died in December 2007, Sean Taylor. He still lives on today because that punter who faked that punt in the Pro Bowl is the reason why the Pro Bowl isn't around anymore. The Sean Taylor rule, I called it that.
Well, see, my thing is the Pro Bowl hasn't been itself in what, like you said, since Sean Taylor hit that punter. Remember, they made it where running backs couldn't even be tackled. It was almost like the running back, so you really couldn't even really get prepared for the game, and then you throw the ball. The scores are like 50 something to 40 something in the third quarter. It's very unwatchable. Only why you want to watch is because you see your favorite players. Maybe perhaps you have an Aaron Rodgers throwing it to DeAndre Hopkins. You see what I'm saying? That's only you want to see like a fantasy outlook. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl even before Sean Taylor hit the punter. I think I just like to see the Pro Bowl rosters. So I'm not opposed to this. This should have probably been done away with years ago because your major players are not even playing because majority of the time it's a week before the Super Bowl. So if you got a Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl who has been in the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 4 seasons, he won't be playing. So you're not even seeing your favorite players. So I kind of like what they're doing. What I would like them to do is bring back the fastest man. I would like them to bring back the strongest man. I would like to see those type of skills, or maybe go back to where, remember back in the day where they used to throw the ball and see who had the strongest arm. I would love to see those things.
Okay. Hey, Jody, my idea of us going against them in flag football, you think that could work?
I think so. But what I would like to see is not professional players, but maybe having some collegiate players and the professional players coach them up. I think that would be kind of nice to see, that to get some of the guys that's about to be drafted come in, get to mingle with the professionals. I think that'll be a good look. Maybe we get to see some 7-on-7, some stuff like that. But nobody's going to watch that on TV. That'll just be something you will be like to see in person. It'll be good. Like I said, the Pro Bowl for me is just to go meet players, to interview some players that you wouldn't probably get.
Those games all sold out. The Pro Bowl sells out, which is it's the worst crap you're ever going to see, but it sells out
because of the people in it, the people that are involved. Like, you want to see your favorite players. You don't necessarily care if you see your favorite players play. You just want to see your favorite player. You want to have the potential to take a picture with your favorite player. I mean, who cares about who can remember the last time what the scores was? Like, do you even care? Like, what's the investment? What is the motivation for these guys to potentially tear an ACL or go out here and hurt a hamstring, and then you're not ready for the season? So I don't think I think owners are elated or are very happy that it's not even happening. So I like what they're doing. I just hope they bring the fastest man back and the strongest man back. I would love, and who has the strongest arm. That's what I want to see.
You know what I think? If you really want to get entertained, take those players. You could do all those competitions, but do the ultimate Madden challenge and Madden game with the player sponsoring someone. Each player that makes the Pro Bowl, he has to live with that player the whole week. And throughout the thing, y'all start a big Madden tournament and let them flow and let them get with their player. Do something interactive with the fan.
Right. Yeah.
Bring the fan and bring the cam and get the fan involved on that level. I think that will be right, because it's a game where you really don't ever get close to the players.
Right.
Unlike basketball and baseball, you can really football, man, it's like hands off. Ain't no courtside seats, anything like that. You up in them stands. You really never get close to the players.
And a lot of times, if they're not a premier person, they got an endorsement deals, they have commercials, you don't even know what they look like. Unless you a diehard, they wear helmets. So a lot of guys, you don't know them by face. You know them by their number. So when you get the opportunity for the star players that have their helmet off, that may not have the same endorsement deals as a Patrick Mahomes, or now you see Josh Allen doing some commercials now, and Ezekiel Elliott, you know about him, you know what these guys look like, but a lot of people don't know how Michael Parsons looked. A lot of people don't know how Derwin James looked. Derwin James. You don't know how Justin Herbert. You don't know what these guys look like. You know what Polamalu looked like because of his hair, but nobody know who Cooper Kupp looked like. Don't nobody know how DeAndre Hopkins looked like. So when you have a Pro Bowl and get an opportunity for these guys to have some face time, do anybody know how Jair Alexander looked? See what I'm saying?
But if he was in the grocery store, they could not spot.
He will walk past everybody unless you are a diehard Green Bay Packer fan or knew him when he was at Louisville, or you one of the guys that really look at what these guys look like. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know what Nick Chubb looked like unless you're a Browns fan, because he don't talk.
Yeah, you're right about that. He doesn't talk. Now, Dave was telling us to bring something up. What was the big topic that was going on? It was Brett Favre, and then it was something else. Coach Herm Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to me about where we are with that and tell the people what happened.
So basically, Herm Edwards, who was having he was struggling this year at Arizona State. He's been struggling for the past couple seasons. He really haven't got the recruits in there like they thought he would get in there. But it was a reason behind that. So when he lost his last game, he was actually fired on the field. The president and the AD met him before he even can get to the locker room. So he got fired on the field, and then it comes out that people on his staff were linking plays and information against to the opponents that he was playing, so they knew what play call. So they was basically internally sabotaging Herm Edwards to be fired.
So Jody, if that's true, the people who got the leak information, they should be in trouble too because they should have been reporting that.
Right.
It should have been. Look, you don't play dirty pool like that. Come on now. No matter how much you hate Herm Edwards, whatever he's done. Now what you've done is you just put everything in doubt. So to me, if that's true, then all those guys need to be fired and they need to be jailed because you could have been gambling on the game.
And see, and I'm agreeing with that. And on top of that is, why is this not a story? We're talking about Udoka when we should be talking about this, because this affects the livelihood of Herm Edwards, the players that he recruited. Now, I mean, I haven't seen the decommitments to Arizona State, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people that's not going to go to Arizona State. It's a lot of people that got a bad taste in their mouth because of what happened, because regardless if you were an opposing coach and you knew what happened, you should be disgusted that you even have some foul individuals on a staff like that. Just imagine that's Nick Saban. Imagine if that's Nick Saban and somebody's doing that to Nick Saban. That will be the biggest story that we have ever heard of. But now it's Herm Edwards because he wasn't having much success. And maybe it's because he's an African-American coach. Nobody's really talking about that. We're more enamored about talking about something that has nothing to do with anything on the court in Boston. We're talking about that more than we're talking about Herm Edwards, first of all, being fired on the field, Tony. He didn't even make it to the locker room. That's so disrespectful. This guy coached at the highest level in the NFL. He coached at Arizona State, which is in Power 5 conference. Have enough respect and decency to at least give him an opportunity to talk to his team before he's fired. Come on now. If he's fired on the field, that's something premeditated, and they wanted to do maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to him actually being fired.
Yeah, I think that's, like I call it dirty pool, is low. If any of the guys who are leaking that stuff, they should never be able to coach again. Whether you like Herm Edwards or not, you should not be able to coach again, because now with the integrity of the game, it should be charges brought up on you. You should be fined and you should be banned for life from coaching in anything dealing with college where any lines are put on the game. Because right now, if you put money down on Arizona State and you found that out, I want my money back.
Because it sounds like insider trading to me. I mean, that's the typical thing of insider trading. So whoever they're linking the information to, maybe linking it to bookies. So now I got to go back and look at the lines on the Arizona State games. That means a lot. Like, okay, what was the lines on these games?
So Joe, what we haven't done is we're coming into a huge game right here. This is for second place. You know, who wins this game tonight?
Or first place.
If the Giants win, they technically would be second place because they would only have 2 conference wins.
Get it? But I mean, they still 3-0. So
yeah. Technically, they would be in second place because Philly got 3 NFC wins,
right,
and a division win. They will both be equal on that. But going into this game, what do you see the keys tonight?
If I'm looking from the Dallas Cowboys standpoint, like we stated earlier, they have to control the line of scrimmage, and once again, they got to be able to run the ball. Ezekiel Elliott has to touch the ball 20 times on the run and maybe 3 to 4 times in the passing game. I believe Pollard needs to touch it about 8 or 9 times in the run and about 4 to 5 times in the passing game. So between those 2 guys, they need to have about 36 touches. That's going to be the key. 36 touches or more is going to give Dallas an opportunity to win this game. Now, if you're looking at it from the Giants' perspective, you got Thibodeau, one of their first round draft picks will be playing tonight. So we're going to see the first time this edge rusher is going to be able to show what he can do out of Oregon. Who was
another rookie?
Yeah, he was a guy. He was a guy that was supposed to be for the whole season. He was going to be the number 1 pick of the draft, and then he slipped to, I think he was the 5th or the 7th pick. I'm not sure. But anyway, Thibodeau, he'll play tonight. Danny Dimes have to protect the football. And Saquon Barkley, he needs to touch the ball. Like both of them combined need to touch it about 36 times. Saquon Barkley needs to touch it about 27 times by itself for the Giants to be successful. And I think both of them are going to play great defense. You got to think. The Giants have played the Tennessee Titans and they played the Carolina Panthers, and they have not scored more than 22 points in the game yet. The Dallas Cowboys have played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Cincinnati Bengals, and they only have scored 23 points combined for the season. So I'm not looking for it to be a shootout. I'm looking for it to be a running back, control the line of scrimmage, control the clock. The winner of this game, I hate to say it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. It's because of the fact that Ezekiel Elliott has always had his way with the New York Giants. And if Kellen Moore can get out of his own way and see that Ezekiel Elliott is your best player on your offense, that's gonna limit the opportunities for Cooper Rush to be hit. And like I said, he's a starting quarterback until further notice till Dak Prescott gets back. So
you wanted to call him Cooper Kupp, didn't you?
I'm about to call him Cooper Kupp. But Cooper Rush, Ezekiel Elliott, he needs to have a throwback game tonight, and he needs to go for over 110 yards for them to have an opportunity to win. I think he will.
Well, hey, folks, you hear that right here? You heard Jody Coleman, who ain't a Cowboy fan. He just picked Dallas to win the game. You know I'm biased. I'm going with my boys tonight. I think they're going to stomp a hole in the Giants because I think Danny Dimes is going to be Danny Nichols. And Dallas has played 2 quarterbacks that are way better than this one. And if you know anything about Giants Stadium, those winds are swirling and everything else. A strong arm is needed. I think he's going to throw a lazy one up. And I think your boy Diggs is going to make a big play tonight. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be as close as what people think it is because I just think Dallas is a much better team than the Giants. Now, the Giants is good. Their defense is good, but their offense doesn't scare me because I'm not afraid of their passing attack. The teams I'm worried about is the teams where I know where they can get vertical on us and hurt us. Remember, folks, you have to understand, first 2 games, Dallas has only given up 2 touchdowns. 1 touchdown drive to Brady, 1 touchdown drive to Joe Burrow. And if they stick with that, you only give up a touchdown drive a game, you're going to be in every game.
And I did mention Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is the best defensive player in the league right now. And I mean, it's a lot of good defensive players. You got your Myles Garrett, you still got TJ Watt, he's out injured, but I really truly believe you got Aaron Donald. No disrespect to Aaron Donald right now. But I think Michael Parsons with the versatility, and let's not forget what Trayvon Diggs looked like he's learning the position. Have you noticed that he's learning the position? His technique is so much better from last year to this year. He was an all-pro last year. He won't get as many interceptions because his technique is better. So a lot of quarterbacks are going to look away. He's going to be a guy that's going to have a lot of deflection. He may have 3 to 4 interceptions this year, but he will still be a Pro Bowl player because now his technique is going to be better. So, hey, guys that's out there listening, and y'all think the interceptions is great. That's the great equalizer to get interceptions. But technique, young cornerbacks, if you're looking, look how he's growing as a cornerback. As he's being able, have you seen his footwork and his technique? How have you seen that, Tony? How he guarded Jamar Chase very well. And if you go back to week 1, he went against Mike Evans, who is a lot bigger than him, 6 inches taller than him. And he outside of that 1 touchdown, he played very well against him.
Yeah, he's only given up 4 or 5 passes this year, which is great. I mean, everybody, talked all that mess about how bad, they dog Diggs, they dog Parsons. And those 2 guys are leading a defense, which I think is one of the most underrated defenses in the league right now. I think they haven't gotten no help from offense. What you saw yesterday, the Skins didn't get any help from their offense, and their defense just gave up 24 in the first half. Right. When you don't get help from your offense, and you know, you doing whatever. Look, I got your boy Antonio Freeman just hitting me up. He want to talk trash. I'm trying to get Antonio Freeman on here.
Oh, I would love it.
Lastly, I want to talk about my Virginia Tech Hokies. We were on the sideline. I couldn't get to you guys because they need build back better down there because they need to get an infrastructure so we can get. But I was on the sideline with Freeman and Vic and some of the greats to ever play in the game. I want to tell everyone, thank you for coming up to me and knowing that I've been fighting for all the ex-players to get all the benefits that they should get. We're talking about a sideline pass. I had a guy who came to me and said, man, I did all that weightlifting. I did everything. I played. I did all that. And he said, man, they couldn't even put his damn name on the brick and the thing. And his son came and said, well, Dad, where's your name? That joint broke my heart. Mm-hmm. Virginia Tech, you know better, do better.
Hey.
Just because I'm criticizing you don't mean I don't support you. But y'all got to do better than this because, folks, this is a new era. And this NIL stuff is hitting the thing. If you don't get that crap together, you will be a 500 thing with just a great entrance and a great environment and a shitty team because you don't want to do all the other things to be a complete program.
I'm hoping that you can get some of your Hoagies on here, your Antonio Freemans, your Michael Vicks, your Cam Chancellors of the world, your Lee Suggs of the world, man. We'd love to have them on the TD Report, man. Lee Suggs was the former Brown, so I got a lot of love for Lee Suggs.
Yeah, hey, man, I thought I was doing something. When I left Virginia Tech, I was number 2 in touchdowns, like 28. Hell, when I left, I was number 2 all time. Lee Suggs got that almost in 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
But that year that he had when he just exploded, he exploded. It was a perfect matchup with him and Vic and all the stuff that they had, man. Those are the, we can get back to those days. But Virginia Tech folks, understand me. I will never stop fighting for the ex-players. I think you guys are doing a good job with the right staff. I think they're going to get back to Hokie football, but it's all the rest of the other stuff. If you want to be like Jody's team, Ohio State, you got to be like Jody's team on the field, off the field, alumni. You need to do like that everything. The environment is the best. That's one of the best environments in college football. That little 60-something thousand is one of the best environments. But we got to keep it going because I had people hit me, that I don't even know they even watched or listened. Thank you for helping us. And that means a lot. And I want to tell you, thank you guys for recognizing and understanding that some of us are pioneers. Some of us are visionaries. Some of us see things that you can't see. And then later on you come back, oh, God, no. But they about to kick off, Jody?
Yeah, they about – can I close with this? Hey, see if we can get Bruce Smith on the show, too. Hey, I'm going to go to Central State homecoming. I'm a Central State grad. I'm going to see if Eric Williams is going to come back. If I get him on there, I'm definitely going to see if he come to the TD Report. Vince Buck, former NFL players. I'm going to try to get him on the show when I go back and meet with those guys. Got a good relationship with Eric Williams, Super Bowl champ, but he's a Central State grad. We both graduated from Central State.
How about them boys?
So,
all right, Joe. See y'all Thursday.
Peace.